back to sourcing. And in today's world with technology and other ways for family to source deals. So in the startup world, where I'm going to be maybe a little bit more familiar, in greater Silicon Valley and around the world, there's even amazing organizations like Angelo, where anyone is kind of a qualified purchaser or even lesser could have the opportunity of being an early investor, seeing more deals. Is there something like this at a level up more in the direct but well above a startup stage?
You know, Angelo, well, there are some databases that exist. There's Axial, there's a handful of other, groups. I would say that in general, most of the databases that are out there tend to have a selection bias of the poor deals, right? Remember, good deals are basically, there's a lot of people ahead of you in line that want to gain access to them. And the reality is, particularly if you're a value investor, maybe a little bit as a growth investor, but a little bit less so, people who own these type of businesses don't need to sell. If you're making $3 to $10 million as a business owner, I don't need your money. I don't have, a need to kind of go and be public out there and say, hey, look, here, you can find me. So in general, I would say that there is a selection bias of, it's different in the venture world where you say, okay, everybody knows that this is a startup. It needs to raise capital. And it is its job to be as public and aggressive as possible to meet as many people to potentially, invest in. When you're talking about, businesses that are, strong and doing well, unless they've made the commitment that they are going to sell, they often, are in the nooks and crannies, and the ones that are kind of on these sites, then you have to ask the question, well, why has this deal come to me? Why am I the best purchaser for this asset? So I wouldn't say, hey, look, don't use the databases and whatnot. But I think in the venture world where you could say, hey, look, 90+% of what you would look at is there, just like in the public market where you can basically gain access of what exists relatively easily. I think it's probably the exact inverse with regards to the buyouts of, established mature businesses. Otherwise, you essentially are participating in some form of auction, right? Where, lots of people are showing interest and whoever pays the highest price. And not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but in today's marketplace, you'll find that, the pricing that you're likely to pay is going to end up resulting in, returns that are going to be suboptimal. I mean, the general consensus is, and the reason why private equity firms are sitting on all this dry powder is the prices just cannot go any higher and us receive a rate of return that would be, sufficient for the risk that we're taking.